Good afternoon, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again for your afternoon blog. It's around 5:50 in Billerica, Massachusetts. We got a lot of some rain showers, but we avoided getting hit by a tornado because there was a tornado warning in the area, and there was some down power lines and trees and branches, and there was some lightning strikes, which isn't good. So hopefully these showers and storms have passed us by, and hopefully everybody's safe. I don't like really the summer weather when it's heat and humidity, because we have a chance for all of these thunder showers, okay? And some news to report. Chris Bosh was offered a 4-year contract worth $69 million from the Houston Rockets, and he's mulling it over. But in my opinion, he's going to stay put with the Heat, along with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, because the Heat could get back to the NBA Finals again because the East is so weak. And if Bosh went to the Houston Rockets, it could be easily he's eliminated in the first round, because the West is too deep for a significant playoff run for these players, okay? And also get well wishes to Ottawa Senators General Manager Brian Murray, who was diagnosed with cancer. Cancer sucks these days. It sucks, period. They need to find a cure for it 100% one of these days. I hope there's a cure before my lifetime's done. So anyway, my next subject is about a classic television game show called The Joker's Wild. The Joker's Wild was hosted by Jack Barry and was produced by Jack Barry himself and Dan Aykroyd. It was a classic question and answers game show where knowledge is king and Lady Luck is queen. It was a general knowledge game show where 2 contestants played, a champion and a challenger, and they would have like 5 categories. Plus, they would be a joker. The jokers are wild. So if a the challenger went first, and they would spin, and if they got a single category, it'd be $50. If they got 2 of the same category, they get $100. If they got 3 categories, they would get $200, and the Jokers was wild. So if they got 1 category plus a joker, it'd be $100. If got 2 jokers in 1 category, $200. And if they got 3 jokers, they could answer 1 question to win the game, which was $500. But the champion always had the option of spending one last time if the challenger got $500 and more. In some cases, they would have to spend all 3 jokers. If they did not get anything less than 3 jokers, or something that would get them to $500 or more, the game was over. And then the contestants who won the $500 kept it, and they would go into the bonus round to face the devil. And the first version of like Joker's Wild bonus round was Jokers and Devils. The contestant would say they could get a small prize, and if they spun 3 jokers, they won the small prize. But if any time the devil came up, they lose the game. They lose the bonus round. And then if they get the first prize, then they have the option of going for the second prize, which was a bigger prize. And they had the option of quitting and keeping the prize, or going on risking that prize. If 3 jokers came up, they won the prize. But if they saw the devil again, they would lose the first prize and would not win the second prize, and the game would be over. And then they would go for the third prize, which was the grand prize, anywhere from a trip to a new car or whatever. And if they spun 3 jokers, they would win everything. But if they got the devil, they lose the 2 prizes, and the game would be over, the bonus round. That was the first bonus round version of the Joker's Wild. Then the second bonus round version of the Joker's Wild was Face the Devil, where they had dollar amounts from like $25 to $250, and they could spend as much as they could to avoid the devil or get $1,000. If they hit $1,000, they would win the prize package, and they could quit at any time and keep the money. But if they saw the devil, the game was over. The Joker's Wild ran on CBS television from September 1st, 1972 to June 13th, 1975. It was a popular hit for CBS, And Jack Barry was a very great game show host. He had a lot of fun doing it. It was humorous for him. And it actually was a comeback from him because back in the late 50s, he was blackballed from television for fixing television shows such as 21. He was fixing the game shows for ratings. He admitted that when he testified to Congress. He did not get in trouble by the Congress, but the government made a law that in 1959 they can't. It's against the law to fix any television game show. It's a felony, and if they got caught, they go to jail for a long time. And Jack Barry in the 60s was basically blackballed from Hollywood. He could not even appear on television shows. He was like a creative consultant for Goodson Todman production, and he actually pitched the Joker's Wild to Goodson Todman in the late 60s, but they said they passed on it because Goodson Todman mainly did panel game shows with celebrities, so they weren't interested. In 1969, Jack Barry shot a pilot for the Joker's Wild, hosted by Mr. Password himself, Alan Lennon, and it was like a similar type of the show that aired. But the celebrities answered the questions on a specific category, which made like Alan Lennon's jobs kind of useless on it. And when CBS saw that, they passed on it. And a local television station in Los Angeles had a local version of the Joker's Wild in 1972, hosted by Jack Barry. And the local television show of the Joker's Wild did major ratings, so CBS picked it up in September, and for 3 years it was a good hit on CBS. After it left CBS, Jack Barry and Dan Aykroyd syndicated the last year of the CBS run to stations across the country, including WSBK-TV 38 in Boston, WWOR TV 9 in New York City, and KYG Channel 9 in Los Angeles, and these were big ratings. The ratings went through the roof, and the distributor, Chris Kraft Television, asked Jack Barry and Dan Aykroyd to produce a revived Joker's Wild for syndication, and they did, with Jack Barry as host again in 1977, and it was continued on. It was played like the CBS version of it, but there was more categories and more specialty categories and stuff like that. And once a year they had a tournament of champions through the previous seasons. It was like a $1 million tournament, but the winner of that split the money with charity, which was a good thing. Now, around 1981, Jack Barry kind of like reduced his workload for hosting the Joker's Wild to like half the season, because they would tape the Joker's Wild maybe 10 shows in 2 days. Jack Barry would take 5 days, the first 1 day, and then substitute host Jim Peck would do the second 5 days, and this alternated for 3 years until 1984, when Jack Barry passed away in May 2nd while jogging in Central Park, New York. And the producers had to make a big decision if they want to keep the Joker's Wild or cancel it. And they decided to continue the Joker's Wild, and they selected Bill Cullen as host of the Joker's Wild over Jim Peck, because the syndicator companies thought Jim Peck didn't have a big name and Bill Cullen hosted the most game shows of all time. And the last 2 years of the Joker's Wild was not that great because it was a fast-paced game show, and Bill Cullen was used to low-paced game shows. Sometimes the game would kind of become different, unhalted because of his styles. But it was good to see the Joker's Wild continue with Bill Cullen as host. That was Bill Cullen's last game show. I didn't mind the Joker's Wild continuing for 2 more years, but in 1986, Dan Aykroyd just canceled the show altogether. But reruns continued on for another year on the USA Network, the final 2 years of the Joker's Wild, hosted by Bill Cullen. Then in 1990, the Joker's Wild returned again as a syndicated show this time with Pat Finn, who was a San Francisco weatherman, as host. And it was played a little differently. Instead of 2 contestants, they had 3 contestants, and they would spin again, but they had dollar amounts from $5 to $75, but the third window had a joker. And if they spun, say, like 10, 10 joker, they would get triple the amount, so they would get so $20 plus triple the amount, $60. And then they had the option, the contestants had an option of 2 categories, and then they could answer as many questions they want to in their categories if they got them right. But if they got one wrong, the other contestants could jump in and steal the money, and they take control. And then I think $500 won the game for the first round, and then they did for the second round, which was an elimination process. Whoever had the lowest score after the second round got eliminated, and then they played into $2,000 the third round to 2 remaining contestants. And then once they did it, they went to a bonus round, which was 60 seconds, and they could name like a definition, as many definitions in 60 seconds to play for so many prizes, including trips, cars, and the Joker jackpot, which started at like $5,000. And they would add $1,000 each day. It wasn't one, but this one had no devil, and they had to spin so much. The questions they got right, they said so many spins they had to spin. If they got all 3 jokers, they won the Joker jackpot. If they got all 3 windows of the prize they want, they win it. But if they didn't get it on the spins, they didn't win it. But they returned the next day. This Joker's Wild was not the best of one, and only lasted 1 year. But the reruns lasted 3 more years on the USA Network, and in 1994, reruns of the Joker's Wild appeared on the Game Show Network on and off for about like 7-8 years, and it got fans again to see Jack Barry at his best. This was probably Jack Barry's signature game show, and was also the signature game show of Barry and N-Rate Productions. And this game show brought Jack Barry back from the mainstream, after being blackballed from television for close to 10 years. And I wish they could bring back the Joker's Wild again, maybe in a syndicated version or a GSN original, but they would have to figure out what it is. And if it was brought back, I would bring back Fit to Face the Devil round, because that was interesting when they lost, because all Barry and N-Rate games had like a villain. If you hit it, you lose. And also all Barry and N-Rate games, if you won 5 games in a row, you would win a brand new car. And in the future blogs, I'll talk about other Barry and N-Rate game shows like Tic-Tac-Toe, Bullseye, Play the Percentages, and Hot Potato. And the third and final blog of the night will be a personality profile that a lot of Bruins fans like. It's about Bruins president Cam Neely, okay? See you in about a few hours. Goodbye, everybody.